What's up, guys? How's about this little Sunday bonus vlog? I don't usually post vlogs on Sundays, but I realized that I wanted to remind you of something, and today was the day that I had to remind you. So you get a little bonus vlog today. Because if I was gonna go ahead and turn the camera on and make a video, I might as well fill it out and make it a full video. Look at this. I've got babies. I've got this silver slicer. That one's from Hudson Valley. The Desi squash. This one hadn't quite popped up yet. Armenian yard-long white cucumber, which there's a little one here. Here's the Wisconsin SMR. Don't see that one yet. The Ancash Market Cuke. Don't see that one yet. Here's the Punakira. It's got a couple coming up. And here is the Max Pack cucumber from Haas. And I can see one little guy right here just starting to poke his head through. There he is. I actually just started these because I had these little fiber pots that were given to me by my friend Ben over at VW Family Farm. And I had these cucumber seeds and I was just planning on direct sowing them. I usually direct sow my cucumbers and my squash and my melons. And actually, I was talking to a neighbor of mine recently and she was saying that she needed some cucumber starts. And I was like, well, I've already got all this stuff out in my greenhouse. I'll go ahead and start you some. And I went ahead and started several different things because I figured I would go ahead and start mine since I was doing it. And I'm really glad too, because we're mending the garden beds and this just gives me the ability to have these a little more established when I put them out there. I already also started my Mexican sour gherkins, cucamelons. I started those early because those guys take a while. This year I decided I would do them inside and they're looking really good, so I'm sure they're gonna take off as soon as I put them out. This is not the fullness of what I will grow squash and cucumber wise. This was just, I grabbed a handful and started one tray's worth. I didn't really have the space in this greenhouse to do a whole lot of them. I may, after I clear some of this out and start planting my stuff, I may actually take some more of these fiber pots and start some more just to share with some neighbors and stuff. Just because I can and I have the means to, and for some people it's just a lot easier to grow from started plants than from seeds. I heard a pastor that I listen to sometimes, his name is Chris Valentin. He said something this morning that really struck me. He said, if you're in a situation where you're feeling a lot of stress, help somebody who is essentially worse off than you, or, you know, and I don't mean that in like a condescending type of sense, but basically help somebody who can't do for themselves what you can do. That was such a profound thing to me because I think right now is such an intense time for so many people. But there are things that you can do that your neighbors or the people in your community or your friends or family, they cannot do for themselves. And, you know, I've been talking to people who are like doing grocery shopping for elderly people to allow them to not go out in public. And for me, it's starting seeds for neighbors and for people to be able to grow their gardens because I already have this stuff laying around. And so I can just do the little bit of work that goes into starting those seeds for people to be able to just pick up from the roadside. And for me, that is very empowering in a situation where you feel like there's so much you can't do and there's so much that, you know, you may feel kind of hopeless or helpless, but I mean, there are things that we can do for other people that they can't do for themselves, and that is a very empowering thing to embrace. I don't typically like using fiber pots because I find them really difficult to keep moist enough, and they tend to deteriorate over time. So if you're starting something in them, like tomatoes or peppers that you may be starting, you know, 6 to 10 weeks before you set them out, the pots might not be worth much by the time it's time to transplant. However, I really do like them for cucumbers and squash and melons because these things you're usually just starting like 2 weeks before you put them out. And as you can see, I've got it in one of these Haas Tools trays so that there is a little bit of moisture there that they're not going to dry out super fast. let's see, I planted these like 4 or 5 days ago. The reason I'm actually posting a Sunday vlog is that I wanted to remind you guys about our Rise and Shine t-shirt campaign. I collaborated with my little brother Drew to bring you this t-shirt that says Rise and Shine on it. It says Roots and Refuge and has a nice little pile of garden goodies with a chicken sitting on top of it. I posted a video called Rise and Shine about a week ago, just kind of sharing something that was on my heart. But I collaborated with my little brother, who is a tattoo artist. He's obviously, tattoo shops all over the place are closed, so I wanted to help support him, as well as this local t-shirt shop that's doing these shirts, and had him draw this shirt for me. I did a goofy little doodle and he made it look amazing by drawing it with his actual art skills. The last day to order those is April the 6th. So you guys are going to be seeing this on Sunday the 5th. So I wanted to give you as much time as possible for that reminder. I'll put a link to that down below so that you can check it out. I had every intention of starting to plant a lot of my garden today, but it's just on again, off again rain, and I decided that I would wait. One thing I'm not going to be putting out yet are the peppers or the eggplants. Now they look pretty good, but I am not going to plant these out quite yet. So the last couple years I've had pretty meager overall pepper and eggplant harvests. I've had a few pepper plants really take off like towards the end of the summer. My eggplants have done really poorly, and it was very perplexing to me because a few years ago I had a crazy bumper crop of both peppers and eggplants. And last year I was thinking, what in the world did I do differently? And I remembered that that was the year that we were actually adding more garden beds, and I didn't get my garden beds planted. Let's see, we were like May planting those and building those, which our last frost date is usually like April 1st-ish. I didn't plant my peppers and eggplants that year until it was much warmer out, and that year I had them. They were so prolific. They were huge, healthy, wonderful. I was harvesting baskets of bell peppers and hot peppers and eggplants of all kinds, and then the last 2 years it's just been awful. And I really think that I was moving my stuff out too soon, because the tomatoes, you can move those out once you're really clear of your last frost. This year, I'm waiting. So when I start planting, when I talk about it, I'm starting to plant this week, I'm going to be putting flowers out, direct sowing flowers, moving herbs out, direct sowing herbs, planting tomatoes, and then direct sowing like the things like the cucumbers and all of that, probably some melons and squash, because I know that I am clear of my last frost here. And usually once you're like a week or two past what your estimated last frost date was, and you check your 10-day forecast and make sure you don't have any days that are really close. If I look on the 10-day forecast and there's a day that's forecasted under 40 degrees, a week or two after my last frost date, I won't plant. Because not started plants. I might put seeds out because that's less of a risk, but these started plants have put a lot of work into, so I'm a little bit more reserved on when I move those out. See my elephant ears coming back? Maya's getting ready to plant the raspberries over here. He's got them all setting out, and they're gonna line this fence. Look at this marvel of Four Seasons lettuce. I need to work that into dinner tonight. That looks beautiful. It's just perfect. We've also been eating quite a bit of kale. As you can see, we have quite a lot of it. And look at all the thyme flowering. Isn't it beautiful? These thyme plants are massive. I have another one on the other side of the garden. I think I'm going to try to like cut them down a little bit and move part of them over to the cottage garden, just because right now between the two plants I have, thyme is taking up about 10 square foot of this space. And that's not that big of a deal. I mean, we have plenty of space, but I think it would look really pretty over the cottage garden. I could easily get carried away and just show you guys all the exciting things in the garden, but I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna do a garden tour like this week after I get my trellises back up. I have no idea what Sweet Maya's doing out here. So I'm down in my basement. It keeps starting to rain just randomly, just on and off all day, and it's actually kind of chilly outside. Not chilly in a sense of what those of you in the frigid north would call chilly. It's Southern Girl chilly outside. Like I was just out here in this dress and I was like, oh, it's a little chilly, like, but it wasn't actually that cold. Anyway, I've been going through my seeds and I actually gave away a lot of seeds, and there are a few things that I would have planted in my garden, but I think I gave away all the seeds to them. So I might not actually have everything in my garden this year that I would have liked to, but I think that's okay because it'll just cause me to try new things because I have seeds to plant. And my thing was I didn't want to order more seeds just for the sake of having certain varieties when there were so many seed companies that were selling out, and I have other things I can plant. So, you know, we're all making adjustments this year, and that's one of the adjustments I'm making, is I'm just planting from seeds that I have, even if it means I might not have a variety that I really wanted. I have a lot of things though, so it'll be okay. And I've got all of the seeds that I still want to plant here. Most everything in here is going to be stuff that's direct sown. And what I'm trying to figure out right now is what space I'm going to be giving to flowers. Of course, I've got the cottage garden, which is going to be a lot of perennials, and many of those are going to be flowers. And I'll probably go ahead and throw some annual flowers throughout there. Maybe some like zinnias and stuff that are gonna be big and colorful and beautiful quickly. Just because the first year in a perennial garden, you're establishing a lot, and it's okay that most everything that we're planting now is gonna be on the smaller side. Next year it'll be really full and beautiful. Thinking in the meantime, it would be kind of nice to have some color in there. So I'm looking at probably putting some zinnias in there. One controversial thing that I am gonna plant, and a couple years ago I talked about planting these and so many of you were like, how could you even consider it? Because bindweed is a form of, it's a morning glory, and bindweed is a bane. I understand. I have bindweed in my garden. I spend a large amount of time throughout the summer pulling bindweed out of my garden. It grows everywhere. It grows all on our fences, and once it goes to flower and seed, it's gonna keep spreading and keep growing. So I understand why people hate morning glories, but I do love morning glories. I even think bindweed is pretty. I just don't want it in my garden because it chokes out all the stuff you actually want to grow. And I actually have these seeds of some really beautiful packages of morning glories, some different varieties that are variegated with leaves and flowers. These are all Baker Creek ones, and all three of these are variegated, and then this one is like a double flowered morning glory, as you can see it here, and then here are the other three. And I have this really long, it's like a commercial chicken feeder, and it's the kind of thing that feeds like hundreds of chickens. And it is behind my greenhouse now, and I've not planted anything in it, and I'm gonna put the morning glories in it to climb on that back fence. And now I've been told that morning glories are poisonous, and the reason why I'm putting them on that fence is because that fence faces out to the road. It's like one of the only fences I have that I feel very confident that my goats can't get to. So that's why I'm putting these here, and I'm really excited to grow these because they're really beautiful. All of those morning glory haters will just have to cringe every time that they see it, but it's gonna be there. Another thing that I'm doing is I actually got these, and I'm trying to decide where these are gonna go, but I got these like Pro Cut sunflower mixes from Haas. I got multiple different colors. I've got a white one as well, and this is the variety that a lot of like flower farms plant for cut sunflowers. And I just have this romantic notion about having cut sunflowers on my table throughout the summer. Right now I'm really having to decide how much space I can reasonably give these during a time where growing food may be more necessary than other times in my life. And I had planned on giving these like entire rows out back. Like I was planning on one of my long rows being nothing but cutting sunflowers. And I decided not to do that because of the fact that I felt like growing more food would probably be the more prudent and wise thing to do. However, I'm still gonna grow some of them because for me, I want the garden to be something that I'm doing with wisdom, but I can't do that at the cost of having joy in it. So I'm still planting flowers. I'm still planting some things simply because I think that they're beautiful, even if they might not be the highest producers. And some of the other things I'm doing differently. You know, I'm making some adjustments, but not at the cost of all the joy of the garden, because growing lovely things is just a huge source of joy for me. And I'm gonna grow some of my cutting sunflowers, even if it's not enough to have the sunflowers on the table all summer. I want them on the table at least a few times. All right, so last thing that I'm gonna show you guys, and I debated whether I was gonna put this on this vlog or not, because I guess it kind of feels just a little bit off-brand maybe, because I don't talk about stuff like this, but I think it is somewhat on topic. And I know that much of my demographic are people who are a lot like me. I know a lot of you tag me in things and you're like, I promise if I was your neighbor, we would be best friends. And so I have to assume that you are like me if that's the case. And so I thought that this is valuable. And so this is just something that I'm sharing. This isn't like a sponsorship or anything like that. I get asked a lot about my clothes. So many of you will comment on videos and say, where did you get that dress or that shirt or whatever? And you know, the unfortunate thing with that is all my clothes are thrifted. Everything I wear for the most part is secondhand. The only time that I ever buy anything new or full price is one, when it's an event that I have to buy something like a bridesmaid dress or something like that. And even then, if I'm allowed to thrift it, I totally will. The other thing is merchandise to support my friends who are creators. That's literally it. And I think this has a lot to do with homesteading, because a big part of living a sustainable life is sourcing things in a sustainable way. And for me, when I really began to learn about like the fast fashion industry and just how a lot of ways clothes are just not made ethically, I couldn't in good conscience continue to support that. But I love clothes. Like, I really love cute clothes. And that's something that I was, I guess, kind of ashamed of for a while. Like, I felt like that couldn't have a place in a homesteading life. Like, I thought that because I was becoming a homesteader, that having cute clothes or fashion just wasn't gonna have any place in that. And I've kind of learned that whenever you are deciding the life that you want to have, you get to decide what's going to have a place in your life. You don't have to fit into somebody's box or mold. And if you like keeping chickens and growing a garden and you want to live a simpler life, but you also really like fashion, I think you can find a place where both of those things can be important to you. And I am by no means like a fashionista, or like I'm like about as low maintenance as people can be. But I like clothes. I like cute clothes. I just don't like paying for them. And so I do a lot of thrifting. I like yard sales. There's like a Goodwill outlet here in Central Arkansas that I go to, and you like search through bins and you buy things by the pound. And I've actually taught my kids to thrift, like to look for like treasures. We call it treasure hunting. I love going in thrift stores and antique shops and all of that stuff. However, right now, there's none of that. Like, you know, all those places are closed, so we can't go do that. Remember this service, I've bought from here before, and I ended up ordering some clothes from ThredUp. You see it? ThredUp. And it's like an online thrifting boutique. So if you haven't already used this service, buying your clothes used is a sustainable way to do them, because you're not putting any more pressure on the new market. You are giving things a second life, so you're recycling. This particular service, they have really, really good deals. Now, not everything on there is super cheap, because they got a lot of designer stuff and all of that. And, you know, whenever things are new on there, they're gonna be more expensive. But they do sales and coupons. You get free shipping if you spend a certain amount. And they have a referral thing where you can share a link, which I'll put mine down below, and you get a free $10 if you use it, and then I get a free $10 if you use it. But like this shirt, I already opened one of these boxes. I didn't open the other one yet. This shirt still has the tags on it, the $58 price tag on it, and I paid $4.99 for it. So I thought that was really good. And I bought a bunch of like summery things, like this like high-waisted skirt, which I thought was really cute. It's like buttons all the way up. Like this tank top, which this is used, but they like put their tag on it. I just thought it was really cool. I think I spent enough to get the free shipping. So for like 2 boxes of clothes, it was like $80 shipped. Okay, so here's how it comes. They wrap everything in tissue paper. and it's all like really clean. It's a lot like shopping at like a used boutique. Got some cute shorts for the garden, cute dress. There's a lot of stuff in here. Some linen shorts. I'm opening these and you guys are gonna be seeing me wear them over the course of the next several weeks. Okay, so I bought this dress. I bought this dress, which is like kind of fancy and like really cute, and it's got pockets and it's all flared out and stuff. And when I was looking at it, I was literally like, I'm gonna get this dress in, and it is so cute. I'm gonna get this dress in and I have nowhere to go. It's gonna be so too nice to wear out in the garden. I'm like, this is gonna be my quarantine grocery shopping dress. I'm gonna wear this with a face mask at the grocery store during this spring. But isn't it pretty? I feel really good about my shopping deals, and I thought I would tell you guys about it. For me, buying used clothes, whenever I'm paying like on average like $5 for a piece of clothes, then I can just wear it and do my life in it, even though my life is messy and I'm hard on clothes and I tear them up and get stains in them because I'm working in the garden. But for me, whenever it's just like a $5 dress, like this dress was like $6, I can do that, and you know, I don't feel like I'm being wasteful by wearing things that were expensive in my messy life. And I can still have cute clothes, which I like. And while I feel like that's a little bit off-brand, like I kept telling myself, like, don't put that in a vlog. I think some of you are probably in a very similar boat as I am, in the fact that this might be something that's important to you, and this might be a resource for you to be able to have a cute wardrobe. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me today on this little bonus Sunday vlog. I'll have links down below for the Rise and Shine t-shirt as well as for ThredUp, so you guys can check those out. And I thank you and appreciate you so much more than I could possibly say. I bless you. Until next time.